There's one thing I think video games always get wrong. Say it with me. It is not easy to catch a pig. It was just 2 weeks ago that Nintendo put up a 20-minute presentation for Tears of the Kingdom that converted me from someone who is pretty ho-hum about the game to somebody who is truly excited and actively anticipating that game. Then, this week, Final Fantasy XVI did the exact same thing. Technically 25 minutes in this case. But essentially the same thing happened. It turns out I get a lot more out of these things personally than I do a regular new trailer. You know, I was just pleasantly entertained, just having a good time watching a long presentation. At the same time, I know that I have to make a video for you. I have to say something, so I want to make it clear what kind of tone I'm setting. This is the way I want to frame today's video. Final Fantasy XVI, you did a great job, but I have a few notes. Number one, celebrate your date. Something that really hit me at the end of that Zelda demonstration was not the glamour shots of the new hardware, but how hard the date hit. You feel it, especially at the end of the trailer they dropped this week. You can feel that date. You can feel the weight of it. Going back to the first time Final Fantasy XVI was revealed, I remember my first impression of it was that this game seems feasible. This game seems like something that could come out soon. That was just 2.5 years ago. September of 2020. You know, the height of COVID-19, and here we are. This game somehow did not have that extended period of lull. That game's never coming out that, this franchise typically carries with it. It really seems like it's really happening. By the way, Suicide Squad, not happening yet. Final Fantasy XVI, happening incredibly soon. They should be proud. They should be shouting this. I was surprised that this was the only mention of the game's release date.
Final Fantasy XVI will be available worldwide June 22nd.
Shout it. Celebrate the release date. And I do get the virtues, I guess, of keeping this a low-key, informative video instead of, the hard sell of the product.
I hope you'll all pre-order the game and join us in Valisthea on release day.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, this is a pre-order video. Just another pointer. Maybe not so much Lordsman Harpocrates and Vivian Ninetales. So you have 25 minutes. Right, I expected us to get into the nitty-gritty, especially of the combat, which is, a main focus of this game. We didn't get into the nitty-gritty. It wasn't, this button does this. The tone was generally, hey, I'm just gonna let Clive do his thing. Let's all watch him together.
Now, let's take a moment to admire Clive in action.
Isn't this great? And then when it was time to learn how the accessories work, the only ones that were explicitly detailed are the accessories that make the game easier, like an earring that gives you auto dodge. And those are good ideas. I'm not complaining about those things. They should exist. But it was at that point I realized, oh, okay, this is a broad video. They're going for a general audience here. Hey, just in case you don't like unlocking abilities,
you can let the game choose for you.
Everybody loves unlocking abilities. Later in the presentation, we are introduced to Lordsman Harpocrates and Vivian Ninetales. Look at this bit.
I have quite the find for you today. You wish to study the tomes?
No, man, I don't want to read your scrolls right now. I think the intent here, highlighting these characters, is to say to anyone who might feel overwhelmed by the story that, hey, these resources will be here for you. And I can actually envision them being helpful. Like, I wish Elden Ring had that. Elden Ring should have a Vivian Ninetales and Lordsman Harpocrates. But I don't think an image like this is going to ease anyone who feels intimidated by your potentially overcomplicated story. So maybe not the best thing to demonstrate here in your broad video. But also, I do kind of think that the Harpocrates thing was in this video because it's the only moment of quirkiness, of genuine whimsy in this entire presentation. This whole thing is like Clive is cool as shit. Clive is hard as fuck. His dog is a good boy, and his friends all have face tattoos. And it's just in this one moment we catch an actual brief whiff of humor. So I get why it's in the show. Talking about brief whiffs, more Moogle effort. I used to hate Moogles. Just their scrunched up faces sitting on the bottom of a big ovular head. There's just something about the look of them that never sat right with me. But playing through Final Fantasy VI, I learned to love the Moogle named Mog, who is a genuine boss-killing monster. And I kind of get it now. Moogles aren't cute. They're not meant to be. That's not their deal. They're just meant to be these dissatisfied, koala-nosed gremlins. From what I can gather from this week's gameplay demonstration, Moogle implementation in Final Fantasy XVI might be low effort. Like it's just gonna sit there next to the job board, just a regular naked Moogle. Does it have a name? I'm not sure if its name is Otto or Nectar, but it needs something to differentiate it. This is so simple. Give this Moogle sunglasses. Give this Moogle a Hawaiian t-shirt. Give this Moogle fangs. Just give it something, please. Why is it just floating by a sign? Give it a nest. Give it a little director's chair. Give it business. Just give it something to do. And please, please make sure at some point and during any of Clive's 3 timelines, we visit a Moogle village. They have to have homes, right? This Moogle lives somewhere. If there's not a moment late game where that Moogle next to the signpost says, hey, come in, crawl into my little hut where I live, I gotta show you something, and then Clive crawls into it, you're not thinking this through. This should be obvious. Finally, stop here, semicolon. Never explain the face tattoos. I got a little worried here at the end of the presentation.
And there's still plenty that we've left to reveal. Battle content, side content, endgame content, and more. We hope to bring you more on these aspects of the game in the near future.
Don't. You already did it. You sold the game. Naoki Yoshida, don't worry about that anymore. If there's somebody who's still on the fence, waiting to hear about the endgame content, let that person sit. Let the spikes of the fence. What I'm saying is if at any point you feel compelled to tell people what the face tattoos are about, just don't. Leave it a mystery. Do you know what an incredible opportunity that is? If you're telling a story that has time skips and suddenly everybody has face tattoos, that's a juicy mystery. That's genius. There's so much to play with there. In fact, if it's not too late, go ahead, look at Harpocrates' journal entry for the face tattoos and just delete that one. If you have time one night between now and June 22nd, I highly recommend it. Leave it a mystery forever. In the meantime, as you're promoting this game, please don't show the optional dungeons. Please don't show the ultimate weapon. Please don't show a cactar. Please don't show a car. And that's delayed input for this week. Thanks for watching. And now it is time again for delayed input, the segment in which I open up the old viewer mailbag and take any feedback you have from previous episodes that you've enjoyed, or maybe you've had something that you disagreed with. Let's take a look.
I've got something to say to that pinhead host of Delayed Input. Solitaire, just for your information, is not the dumbest game ever made. I play Solitaire. I play it a lot. You play it vertically. That's how it works. Just so you know, I have 7 million points. My fastest game was 1 minute and 40 seconds. Stupid time, you call it. Let's see how stupid time you are, stupid boy. Try and beat it.
All right, so that's my dad.